live in Providence, Rhode Island, as you look at the State House of the nation's smallest state. And just a few blocks away sits the Providence Civic Center, where tonight HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. The main event, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, defends his crown against the #1 contender, Wilford Scypion. All of New England has adopted Marvelous Marvin Hagler, as evidenced by the near sellout crowd here in Providence, and his popularity worldwide seems to build with every fight. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins. Sugar Ray Leonard, so much a part of our HBO Championship Boxing broadcast, unable to be with us tonight. He is recovering in his Maryland home from minor surgery. We wish him the very best. But playing the part of Sugar Ray Leonard tonight, our own heavyweight champion, Larry Merchant. And Larry, we have seen some of the great middleweights down the line, and of course a conversation that we had in Worcester, Marvin Hagler's last fight. Where does he stand amongst them all? It's still too early to tell, I know, but there's always a lot of speculation. How good is Marvin Hagler?
Well, I think it's a little premature to bronze him and send him to that great Hall of Fame in the sky just yet. I think it's enough to say he's an outstanding fighter. He's destroyed his division. He's by far and away the best man middleweight around. He may be the best middleweight champion since Monzon. Pound for pound, he may be the best fighter around today. When you go to see Marvelous Marvin Hagler fight, you go to see a performance more than a contest.
All right, it was about 2 weeks ago that Marvelous Marvin Hagler was running hills at his Provincetown, Massachusetts training camp when he felt a pain. It was a pain he'd had before, but this time, worse.
My lateral movement side to side is where it was hurting me, you know. I could go forward, but and forward and backwards in a straight line after the first couple of days. But then I couldn't get any lateral movement. I couldn't go around my opponent, and either way it just hurt. Just feel like it wants to just give out, because of the pain, it would just shoot.
Barry, Marvin has had a problem with the popliteus tendon. This is a tendon that's located in the outside of his left knee. This is a sketch of his left lower extremity. This is a blow-up of the knee joint itself. The popliteus tendon is this area here, and that's its muscle. When that muscle contracts, it primarily rotates the lower leg inwardly on the upper leg. This caused quite a bit of problem with lateral movement, his forward movement to the left.
My championship is on the line. This is everything to me. Why go in there and gamble? Sure, I could have went in there, but why, in a sense, and make excuses afterwards, talk about my knee or whatever? Myself, I want to go in there 100%.
There is another issue at hand, and that is the non-sanctioning of this fight by the sports governing bodies, the WBA and the WBC. The bottom line of it all, nobody really cares.
The fans watching the fight will see the same fight, whether it's sanctioned by the WBC or the WBA. I think what really happened is that the Americans have finally said enough. I mean, that silly little man named Jose Suleiman taking millions of dollars out of this country for sanctioning fights, not paying any taxes on it, not accounting for the funds, telling us how to run boxing. I think that's enough. I think this new organization, which will be based in the United States, which, by the way, has support from around the world, from the English, from the Koreans, from the Argentines, from the Italians. This will be the coming force in boxing. Hopefully they won't be quite as silly, but certainly they'll account for the money and pay taxes.
Well, Larry Merchant, we've heard all the letters, WBA, WBC, USBIA, LSMFT. What does it all mean right now?
Well, every time I hear one of these alphabet wars in sport, I feel like singing what my 2-year-old daughter does. Now I've said my ABCs, won't you sing along with me? Let me try to clarify it as mercifully briefly as I can. The Latin Americans who control the WBC and the WBA have made some increasingly arbitrary rulings recently, and there are charges that they have been exacting large amounts of money from promoters for getting ratings and for permitting fights to go on, and the Americans are beginning to rebel. Be that as it may, we have to remember that all commissioners everywhere, in America or foreign, are political appointees who make modest amounts of money, and they're dealing in fights that are worth millions and millions, so they're all subject to corruption, bribes, and whatever, and I don't see any reason that it would be any better here than abroad.
So Marvin Hagler tonight will go into the ring looking for a couple of other letters. K.O. He's managed to do that his last 6 title defenses. He is a guy who it seems has been fighting his entire life. First to escape his environment, then for respect, and now he is fighting for recognizability and getting it. Of an American slum. Its eerie tranquility of today is a sharp contrast to the riots of 16 years ago. For 5 long days, Newark was a tragic battleground. The streets were a playground for looters and snipers, and families survived by becoming prisoners in their own homes. Among the survivors of that siege was a 13-year-old boy. His name was Marvin Hagler.
It was scary, like the end of the world. And you used to hear the neighbors downstairs, neighbors upstairs, all come over and they all talk about what had happened last night. Somebody got killed over there, or they robbed some furniture store across the street.
A few people guided Marvin through those difficult times. One of the strongest was his grandmother, Bessie.
She was the type of woman that really pushed me, I guess, to try to become somebody. You know, if we needed money on Saturdays or something like that, I would go over, either scrub the floors for her, or either take the trash out, just so that she'd give me some movie money or something like that, you know, so I wouldn't have to be out in the street trying to get it any other kind of way, you know.
When he go with me, well, he's out of trouble, then I talk to him and tell him about the trouble you could get in following bad boys. So he wasn't no trouble to me. He was all right. He minded me, and still do.
Another guiding force in marvelous Marvin Hagler's childhood was revealed in a recent cover story in Sports Illustrated. At the time, Marvin was a loner in desperate need of some direction. Hagler was reaching out when Mr. Joe reached in. I haven't seen him since I was a kid, and I've been trying to find the guy for a long time. I do believe that one day he'll show up. We found Mr. Joe outside Newark. In the 60s, he organized sports programs for ghetto kids like Marvin.
When he first came down, he was pounding at the door, and I opened the door, and there Marvin was with a blue T-shirt and slacks on and a sheepish grin on his face now. Marvin had the fortitude now. He's something about the kid. I mean, he didn't want to be here. He wanted out. He wanted out so bad he could taste it.
And I believe in the beginning, my drive and determination all came from New Jersey. I take my kids back there and I show them, even my daughter goes, gee, Daddy, how could you live in a place like this, you know? But at the time when you're young, you don't know a better place.
You know, nobody could do it for him. Just like nobody can do anything for any of these other kids unless they do it themselves. All I was there for Marvin, somebody to talk to, somebody to come around and want a problem, a special problem, and that's it. You got to be somebody there to listen to. A lot of these kids want you to listen to them. Who's listening? Nobody listens.
Obviously, Mr. Joe's words had a meaning for Marvin Hagler. He has donated boxing equipment to a Newark athletic program. And if he can give a kid a purpose and keep him off the streets, then his gift has done its job. His message to the youth of America is simple and without racial boundaries.
I am from the ghetto down in Newark, New Jersey. And I guess everything that I had to do, I had to fight for all my life. If you want to be somebody, and I think if you set your goals, I think you can achieve what you want out of life. I'm trying to build up other kids' hopes and dreams, not to really become a fighter, but I think more or less to give them something in their mind to participate in, other than going out trying to rob or break into a store or something like that. You know, put that mind and body, you know, to work.
So when you see marvelous Marvin Hagler perform in that 20-foot square, remember the source of his fierce desire. He fears that if he should ever lose the title, and I quote, everything will just stop. Marvelous Marvin Hagler's past and the memories of the people who touched his early life give him the strength, the will, and the determination to move on. He continues to fight and survive. So coming up next here on HBO, the 7th title defense of the champion, marvelous Marvin Hagler, as he takes on the #1 contender, Wilford Scypion. A heart reads, I love Pop, to Wilford Scypion. To his family of 15 in Port Arthur, Texas, it's Wilford's nickname, Poppy. Pop was an old man who Wilford loved and cared for when he was a child growing up in the projects. It was that environment that left Wilford no choice but to fight.
I always wanted to box since he was a little boy. He says, well, Daddy, I'm going to be a fighter. I said, but that's what you want to do, son? I said, remember, I said, you got to be a good one. If you, whatever you want to get into, be a good one. So he says, I know that. And he started from there.
And a good one he became, losing only 11 of 217 amateur fights. From there, Wilford Scypion's life, both personal and professional, had the rise and fall of a seesaw. In January of 1978, Wilford's brother Paul was arrested in this vicinity for public intoxication. He was taken to jail and was allowed to call home.
So I said, well, you want me to come and get you? He said, no. He said, I'll be all right. He said, because they'll probably just keep me in here for, you know, a couple of days.
The next day, my family went down there to check on my brother Paul Scypion, and they say he signed out. They showed us his signature. Don't even look like his handwriting. That's all I could say. We ain't never seen him since.
7 months after his brother's disappearance, Wilford turned pro. His career began with 12 consecutive knockouts. Unfortunately, the streak continued. In his 13th professional fight, Wilford lived a boxer's nightmare. In the 10th and final round, he knocked out Willie Klassen. Klassen never regained consciousness. Wilford's life and career were crumbling before his eyes. He contemplated quitting, but instead, he vowed to win the middleweight title in the memory of Willie Klassen. 4 fights later, versus Mustafa Hamsho, the downfall continued. With only seconds remaining, Wilford fell through the ropes and was counted out. Claiming that he was pushed out of the ring and held down by Hamsho's handlers, he returned to his locker room. Officials later decided to continue the fight, but Wilford refused to re-enter the ring and was disqualified. In his next 6 fights, Wilford's only loss was to the #1 contender, Dwight Davison. But it was versus James Green that he hit rock bottom. Wilford lost a close decision, and his reaction was so vociferous that he received a 2-month suspension from the New Jersey Athletic Commission. Wilford Scypion's reputation as a world-class boxer was in serious question.
After the James Green fight, I made up my mind to go up. I done went down. I went down further I could go. It's time for me to reach the top, not to beat the #1, not to be #2, to beat
He has 20 knockouts, but as he mentioned, he has been something of an enigma. Here's a look at his record, as we just mentioned, 26-3 with 20 knockouts. He's 24 years old, came in here right at 160 pounds. In fact, Larry, both fighters coming in right at 160 pounds, rather unusual.
Yes, it was. Scypion has a reputation of being an up-and-down fighter. I would say the conventional wisdom is he would have to be very, very up to avoid going down in this fight.
He looks very loose right now. Of course, that's always easy before the champion comes into the ring. And here is Marvin Hagler with Goody and Pat Petronelli on either side of him coming into the ring. Marvin is all business when it comes to the day of the fight, and he has been just that all day today. Won't even so much as answer the door of his hotel room for even these people closest to him, and that includes Goody Petronelli and Pat Petronelli, who have been with him for about 14 years. Marvin Hagler, 29 years old. That may be something of a surprise to HBO viewers who first saw Marvin Hagler as a 30-year-old. They actually had discovered a mistake on his birth certificate, and he is younger than he first thought he was. So he comes into the ring now and we'll see some of the pre-fight games. Hagler comes in 56-2-2, and listen to this crowd. No question as to who the crowd favorite will be here tonight. It is the champion who you're looking at, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
He's become a great hero all throughout New England. We've seen him fight in Boston and Worcester. Now here in Providence, he'll be fighting in his hometown of Brockton. And he's conquered everyone here in New England as well as everyone in the ring.
Interestingly, Wilford Scypion has said that, and I quote, "I always fight my best on someone else's turf." Well, tonight, to be sure, he is on someone else's turf. Hagler, after a lengthy trip from the locker room, comes into the ring. There is the record of Marvin Hagler, 56-2-2, 47 knockouts. I would say that's rather impressive. He's not lost since 1976. In fact, his only 2 losses came within a 3-month period.
To 2 very tough Philadelphia fighters in Philadelphia.
Those 2, Willie Monroe and Boogaloo Watts. Here's the tail of the tape. Scypion, 5 years the junior of Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Otherwise, really little to choose between these 2.
Hagler is coming at 160. He's had a few problems in training. I don't think that the few pounds over his recent weight will make too much difference, but I think it does suggest that perhaps he hasn't been at it quite as diligently as he has been in the past, although that's still more diligently than everybody else. Here we see their common opponents, and Mustafa Hamsho, the most revealing of them. Marvin Hagler put on a classic clinic, an exhibition in taking Hamsho apart, and Hamsho stopped Scypion.
All right, more of the pre-fight festivities. Let's go up to the ring right now for our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Scypion Auditorium in Providence, Rhode Island, 15 rounds for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world, sanctioned by the United States Boxing Association International. Robert W. Lee, President, and Bill Brennan, Supervisor. Promoters, Top Rank, Bob Arum, Andreoli Production, and Rick Valenti. Tonight's boxing is under the supervision of the Rhode Island Racing and Athletic Commission. Officials working this evening are judges Larry Hazard, New Jersey, Joe Cortez, New York, and Stuart Kirschenbaum, Michigan. Referee Frank Cupertino, Pennsylvania. Timekeeper Bob Letty, and counting for the knockdowns, Kevin Massey. Attendant physician at the ringside, Dr. Patrick Brennan and Dr. Renee Hardiman. Introducing in the blue corner, wearing blue trunks with the gold stripes, weighing 160 pounds, and his professional record is 26 wins, 25 knockouts, and 3 losses from Port Arthur, Texas, the #1 contender, Wilford Scypion. And in the red corner, wearing maroon trunks, weighing 160 pounds, and his record is 56 wins, 47 by knockouts, 2 losses, and 2 draws from Brockton, Massachusetts, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, marvelous Marvin Hagler.
So there you have the introduction of the fighters. We have not talked too much about Wilford Scypion. He's not going to be any secret. There's no question about that.
Well, he has to be 125% of himself. A lot of people have thought he had potential across the years. He's rarely shown it. This is an opportunity for the title, the biggest fight of his life. He's got 7 brothers, 5 sisters, and his parents here from Port Arthur. If he gives a big effort, he might make it interesting.
He's got to win just to pay for the tickets. One thing that Sugar Ray Leonard always points out, and that is how much a fighter has warmed up before he came into the ring. Marvin Hagler is very warm, has broken his sweat. Wilford Scypion, on the other hand, is not. He will be in Marvin Hagler's face. There's no question about it. He has said that he wants to fight the same fight against Marvin Hagler that Vito Antuofermo did the first time when he took Marvin Hagler to a very disputed draw. He is the underdog both by the odds makers and by the crowd here.
Now we get to the meaningful initials, Barry, F-I-T-E, fight.
You're R-I-T-E about that. This is the first round. We'll go 15. Remember, Marvin Hagler coming off that knee injury, so that is something to watch. He said it affected his lateral movement. He told me yesterday it is not affecting it any longer. It was not a muscle tear that Hagler had in the knee, but just an inflammation caused simply by training too much, too hard. Wilford Scypion has never been cut. Conversely, neither had Tony Simpson. Combination by Scypion.
Get out yourself, folks. Come on.
There's a right hand by Hagler, top of the head, no damage.
It is generally Marvin Hagler's modus operandi to try to soften up his opponent before trying to take care of him and put him away, much like a matador and a bull. But he is coming out fast here.
Scipion's punches being caught mostly on the shoulders of Marvin Hagler. Hagler did score with an uppercut in that exchange. Hagler has said when he did have problems with his knee, it forced him to take a slugger stance. Now, he has not had to really go laterally against Scypion because Scypion has not really come directly at him as he had said he would. It does strike me, Larry, that Marvin is a little bit more up-tempo in round 1 than he has been in his last few fights.
He is, and I think it's anticipating that Hampshire does want to pressure him. Excuse me, that Scypion wants to pressure him as Hampshire did earlier, and of course Vito Antuofermo.
And there go the legs of Scypion in round 1. Hagler is right on top of him, measuring his man. It was a right hand that set him up. I don't even think Hagler thought he hit him that hard. There's another good right hand that goes up on the head of Scypion. Scypion seems to have his legs back now. End of round 1. Big round for Marvin Hagler.
Did you get hurt with that?
Let's listen in Scipion's corner.
Hey, standing back waiting on him. Standing back waiting on him. You can't stand back and wait on this guy. Sip, hey, you can't fight inside.
Where's the mouthpiece, Mike?
You cannot fight inside. You gotta cut him.
Let's take a look and see how he got in trouble. Scypion is finding out early. There's the left that drove him back. He's finding out early that he's going to have to pay a price to get in close. And it's a question of whether he can pay that price.
Heard Kenny Weld in the corner saying that you just had to get inside. This is Marvin Hagler's corner.
All right, second down. Second down.
You had the dilemma of Scypion clearly defined. He is being urged to get on top of Hagler, but to get there, he's got to be willing to take the price.
And Scypion does crowd his man as we start the second round here. He's very wild with his punches, however. As he was against Frank the Animal Fletcher, incidentally.
All right, come on, get out yourself. Come on, stop punching. Straight. All right, hold it. Hold it.
He is just not allowing Wilford Scypion to fight his fight.
Scypion is trying to cut the ring off, not having much success.
Combinations by Hagler hurt Scypion once more. And again, the right hand getting through. It was a right hand lead. And Hagler's really opening him up.
This is a very up-tempo pace for Hagler this early in the fight.
Counter-punching right hand by Hagler. A combination by Hagler.
All right, stop punching. You're both holding.
Hand that hurt.
Bring it back high.
The left hand by Marvin Hagler backs Scypion off once more.
Scypion trying to stay on top of Hagler, but paying a price.
End of the second round. Well, we want to remind you that Monday, June 6th, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, Inside Boxing. Larry Merchant, the host on the show, my co-host on this broadcast. I'll be there along with Sugar Ray Leonard. It's HBO Sports News Series, and it'll take you behind the scenes of the boxing world. We'll have ringside updates, visits to the training camps, some newsmaker interviews, all the latest news. It's Inside Boxing, and it starts Monday, June 6th.
Stay your own distance. You get them guessing right now.
That's Goody Petronelli with Marvin Hagler.
You're reading them beautiful. Keep them on your side. Keep them on your side. Keep that hand up.
Well, of course, that is a team that's been together for 14 years.
And their pursuit of excellence is paid off.
Hagler again up-tempo to start the third round. We heard Goody Petronelli say, you got him guessing.
Don't throw one at a time. Get off.
Hagler trying to bring it down, shots to the body.
Hagler going downstairs, and those punches will certainly take a toll as time goes on. This is the third round. Fast-paced fight so far.
Get him up! Come on!
Scypion that did get in, but did no damage, and takes two right hands from Hagler and another right. And a left hand. And Scypion is in the center of the ring and just trying to cover up.
I think he warded off most of those blows.
Hagler peppering him with combinations. No one punch really doing a lot of damage, but it's a cumulative effect. Knee showing absolutely no effect on his lateral movement.
Keep punching now, keep punching, let's go.
Beautiful uppercut. He's beginning to time Scypion very well and finding it hard to miss right now.
I think your analogy to his being a matador is really the perfect one. He really is something to watch.
But he's an aggressive matador. And that's what separates him from the ordinary boxer.
Third round.
The difficulty of fighting Hagler this way is that you have to survive the first half of the fight and hope that in the second half of the fight that Hagler is slowed down.
Get out there and fight, man. You ain't fighting.
This is the corner of Wilford Scypion.
You're acting like this guy's your daddy or something.
Nothing. It's nothing.
Put your hands in your lap.
It's not. Come on, Wilford.
Those are right.
You got a little bitty nick.
Yeah, a little nick, that's all it is.
How about fighting? How about fighting? Hey, bend your legs some and bomb this guy, okay? Come on, get your hands back high. You act like
Let's take an overhead view of Marvin Hagler at work. A left high on the head, a left a little bit lower on the jaw, and a left through Scipion's guard.
Again, really the cumulative effect.
They were working on Scipion's left eye in that timeout.
Said there was a little nick. We'll see what we can see here. Also, Kenny Weldon told him, bend your knees.
Marvin Hagler getting $1.25 million for this night's work.
Scypion took a good right hand. It stunned him for a moment.
Come on, let him go, Will. Stop hanging on him, Will. Stop hanging on him. Stop punching and step back. Come on. Come on, Will.
Scypion cannot stay with Hagler in the short run. He's hoping to hang around for a long distance run and perhaps catch him in the last third of the fight.
Scypion has gone 12 rounds on one other occasion. Never gone 15. There's a right hand by Scypion that did get in on the nose of Marvin Hagler. Hagler circling Scypion and trying to keep him outside of it. Hagler fighting softball right now. He'll switch.
Scypion is being persistent.
Whoa, watch them heads, both of you now.
Referee giving a bit of a warning, saying watch the heads. Marvin Hagler has gotten himself in trouble before with butts. Vito Antifermo fight, of course. He suffered a cut from a butt. And again, Scypion now managing to get on top of Hagler a little bit more than he was. And there he took a right hand. That buckled his knees. Scypion back in his own corner. Takes a combination, goes down. And may not make it up. This man has never been knocked out. And it's over. It is all over. So Marvin Hagler has knocked out Wilford Scypion in the 4th round and was very impressive in doing so.
What you have to say here, Barry, is that Scypion was trying to win the fight. And because he was trying to win the fight, and it was stopped at 2 minutes and 47 seconds of the 4th round, he made himself available to be knocked out.
And for the first time, it was a combination. Again, it wasn't any one punch that did the damage, but a combination from Marvin Hagler, who again has given every indication that he must be ranked amongst the top middleweights of all time.
You see, Hagler is now holding aloft his various belts, but let's take a look and see just how it came. There was a delayed action, and that last left hand, I thought, did it, or finished him. He had been stunned a little bit earlier. The right hand that started him on the way, Barry. The right hand started him on the way. And the rest was just a professional job of finishing.
Knowing the man is hurt and taking advantage of it. Take a look from this great overhead shot given us by our director, Mark Payton.
Marvin has 2 belts, WBC belt, WBA belt. Now he's going to get United States Boxing Association International ring, the diamond ring.
So my partner, Larry Merchant, will make his way into the ring to talk with the winner, Marvin Hagler, who's surrounded right now by his family. You look at Wilford Scypion, a game challenger who just took the best that Marvin Hagler had and caved in under that in the 4th round. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Nino Cam, for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by a knockout in the 4th round and still undisputed middleweight champion of the world, marvelous Marvin Hagler.
So the chaos in the ring, 2 minutes 47 seconds of the 4th round. And Larry Merchant will try to make his way over to the champion, Marvin Hagler. And here's Marvin Hagler, absolutely bedecked in championship belts. Hagler is with Larry Merchant, but we want to get him turned around so that he can see and talk us through some of this fight. And I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to see the knockout punch and talk about it with the champion, marvelous Marvin Hagler, who has scored his 7th consecutive knockout victory as the middleweight champion of the world. He seems to grow not only in stature, but certainly in, as we mentioned, recognizability with every fight he has. Right now, let's go to Larry Merchant with Marvin Hagler. Larry?
Marvin Hagler, looks like you've conquered New England as well as you have Wilford Scypion again. You came out a little faster than you usually do, I thought.
Yeah, well, I had to against an opponent like him. You know, he's very aggressive. I caught him with a couple good shots. I thought I was really going to have to work the whole 15. That's why I worked that body so hard, because it has to pay off for me. I felt him started slowing down a little bit, and I was ready. But first of all, I'd like to say hello to my son in New Jersey, Gentry. Monk, Daddy, love you very much. also I'd like to thank God for giving me the gift of my boxing, also the courage and the strength and the confidence.
Marvin, every fighter you come in looks back at the first Vito Antuofermo fight and says, if I put pressure on Marvin Hagler, I can do what Antuofermo did.
Exactly. They're going to find. I told you, Antuofermo just had a style that he got away from me the first time in a sense, but the second time I was ready to put Antuofermo's lights out for good. They were smart on stopping him. I'd like to thank also all my sparring partners who helped me prepare for this fight and all the people down in my Provincetown camp.
Marvin, he was coming to you, which means he was really trying to win the fight. He wasn't trying to dance away from you or stay away from you.
No,
Did you see that right away?
Well, we figured that he couldn't change his style. I knew he couldn't outbox me. He could only be aggressive the way that we knew. I started trading punches with him, which my trainer told me I don't need to. I'm outclassing this guy. I got more guns to go with, and I started seeing it, started settling down, and started looking for my spots. Start picking my spots.
In a moment, we'll come up with a replay of the knockout and ask you to describe it for us, Marvin.
I remember what it was.
Here it is.
I thought my straight left hand, which we've been practicing all the time, coming back with that right hook. I think I shook him up. There's my left hand again. Come back with the right hook again. I think this is what it was now, to put them together. You see that everybody looks for my right hand, and I can put you away with my left. Either hand is dangerous.
Here's another angle, Marvin.
There's the straight left hand. Just glimpse him, but it knocked him off balance and set him up for me.
I thought the right hand coming right here.
The left really was staggered him right there. And crumbled. That's the way I wanted him, down at my feet. He had a big mouth, and that's where he deserved to be. I don't know. I was thinking about retiring this fight here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a lot of thought. I want to take some time off and go over with my family what they think is best for me, and also my manager and trainer, because I felt as though that I didn't beat everybody out there, and I don't want to be a stepping stone for anybody.
This talk of retiring is something very, very new. I thought, first of all, that you were in line to fight Juan Roldan, the #1 WBA contender, sometimes in July.
Well, what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm seriously thinking about it, retirement and everything. Like I said, I didn't beat everybody. There's always going to be another opponent out there. They haven't paid me the money that I really deserve, so, you know, if I can get out with my health and start a business or whatever,
well, you made
I'm very happy.
You made $1.25 million tonight as a total purse. That doesn't seem like a bad payday. But beyond that, Marvin, I once heard you say to Sugar Ray Leonard, let's get it on, Ray. We'll bring out the best in each other.
That's right.
Don't you hope there's somebody out there that can bring out the best in you?
Well, you know, they're not bringing the money with them. But
what about Benitez and Hearns?
I challenged Benitez. I challenged Duran. I challenged Leonard. I challenged Hearns. All these guys, I've challenged them. So why should I have to hang around and wait for them to build their courage or whatever, or wait for me to lose or to look bad in front of my public and my fans, in order to get them to come out? That's what they're waiting for. They're also waiting for me to grow gray hair. You know?
Well, I think you licked that problem, Marvin, very well. But I also think that tomorrow morning, when you sit down and think about it, and after this short night's work, that you'll look ahead to some other fights.
Yeah, I felt that way all the way through the training and everything, and I tried to put it out of my mind to go on and succeed in this victory, because I wanted it very bad, and I wanted a good showing if I was going to do that. And again, I'm going to talk with my family, my wife and my kids, and see what we decide.
Thank you very much, Marvin Hagler. And now back to Barry Tompkins at ringside.